Well, time for another little quick update on the project from what I got done this week. Um, One thing is I got the transmission back, uh, excuse me, from RPM Transmissions, so completely rebuilt and upgraded. I guess didn't have that many miles on, so it didn't have to rebuild, but they put stronger components in it and stuff like that. So should be able to support 1,000 to 1,200 horsepower. So basically the same TR6060 that was in the GT500, they basically just take the guts out and put in stronger components and take care of and basically strengthen it up so it can handle that much extra horsepower. One thing I did find, one thing I did this weekend, which I can't really show, but I swapped out the fuel system basically, so the fuel lines and everything from the front to back. I took out the ones from the '07 and I put in the ones from the GT500, the fuel lines and the brake lines from the front to the back. I swapped out the shocks from the '07 shocks. Those are the GT500 shocks. But one thing I did find when I was in the process of putting the fuel system from the GT500 in was that I appeared to be missing part of it that was on the back, and it took me a while to figure it out, but I eventually figured out what was missing. It was basically this from the '07. The '07 version, I was missing the one from the GT500, and this is the charcoal carbon canister system that the fuel system runs through. That's all the way at the back, kind of up under where the spare tire is underneath. And the GT500, it must have got ripped off in the rollover in the accident. So it was not there. So I guess I didn't even realize that I was missing it until I pulled this off the '07 and then went to put on the other piece from the GT500, did not have it. So, and unfortunately I checked with the local parts store and the O'Reilly's. They don't carry it, so I'll probably have to call the Ford dealer, one of the Ford dealerships in the morning and see if they have it. I looked it up online. It's like $173, it looked like, at least from one place online. But that is missing from the GT500, so I did not get that done. I was also hoping to get the gas tank swapped out. Here's the gas tank from the GT500. I was hoping to get that swapped out and put in this weekend, but I will show you what I ran into that kind of slowed me down a little bit and took me actually most of the day today to get done. Was I decided to swap the fuel filler out from the one that was in here to the one from the GT500, which, as you can see, is a capless fuel system, or a fuel filler, I should say. Here's the one from the '07, and it's got the cap on there. And in the newer models, they went to a capless system. But what I found was the fact that for that capless system, the fuel filler neck is very different now, and route's completely different. In the stock one from the '07, it comes down right here and then kind of comes under here and goes around. But it's kind of hard to see here. I don't have very good light. But the newer ones actually have a hole cut in the rail here, and it actually goes through, and then it's kind of hard to see there with the light, but here it is over here. It ends up over here, but it actually goes through and then around and back over there. So, and since this was not there, so I ended up having to cut a hole there. The one on the inside is actually pretty close to the right side. The one here ended up being a lot bigger than what it actually needed to be. So I thought I was cutting it smaller and was going to cut bigger as it went, but I ended up cutting it significantly larger. But that's okay. It fits in. So had to do a little bit of fab work there, but I got that done. It took me a little bit longer than what I was anticipating. It took me most of the morning to do that, because there, as you see, my air tank looks fairly large, but using because the only thing I couldn't really use my electric cutoff wheel very well. I could kind of on the outside here, but on the inside where it is a very kind of cramped area, so I ended up having to use my electric or my air cutoff wheel. And that thing, even though it's small, takes a lot of air, I guess, because I could cut for 2-3 minutes, and then I would run out of air, and the air compressor would kick on, and it can't keep up. So then I would have to stop and wait for 5 to 10 minutes, and then cut for about 2 to 3 minutes and wait. So it took me basically like 3 hours to cut that, which really, if I'd have been able to use the electric one, I'd have probably had it done in 10 minutes, but it took me all that. But I got the fuel system, they said, done, minus that carbon piece that I got to order tomorrow. Put that in, but the rails are in, and the filler is pretty much in. So I just got to check a couple of fitment things with that, and then hopefully I can put the fuel tank in. The other thing I got kind of laid out over there, that you can kind of see a little, that's the back part of it there, is because the GT500 was a track pack car. It did have the rear end cooler in it, and so that is then the lines are on this side that go all the way from the back to the front to keep the tranny, or it does have a trans cooler too, but the rear end cooler there, and you can kind of see them right here, and they go all the way to the back there, and then the pump, which pumps that all the way up to the front. So that is the next piece to get done also. So that's kind of where we're at. So some of the stuff that I said was kind of harder to see because it was up underneath, but kind of an explanation of what I did and a couple little bumps I ran into, but keep moving forward. Thanks. Bye.